Oh, it wasn't tough at all. Because when I hit that ground and couldn't feel part of my body, it made the decision for me.
Made it for you, huh?
Yeah, it made the decision for me. So I was in Indianapolis, and I'll kind of give you a little lay of the land on how that happened. Basically, it was like an open step crossover downhill. I take it inside. I probably got upfield probably to the second level of the linebackers, probably maybe going about 10 yards. And as I got tackled, I was going down. The thing that most people don't know and probably didn't see is that as I was getting up from getting tackled, I saw the DB kind of coming from an angle from the left side as I was going down. I assumed, should not assume, but I assumed he was going to peel off. But he actually jumped over me. And when he jumped over me, I was coming up to get up and caught that knee. And so his knee to my helmet, and then it just hit one of those things where I was having some issues with contact and my nerves. And so I hit the ground, and my players, like my linemen, were over me telling me, basically, Beast Mode, they'll put their hand out for you to get up.
Yeah.
And so one of my linemen put his hand out for me to grab it, and then he'd help me get up. And I wanted to grab his hand, but I couldn't. I couldn't feel anything in my body. I could just only move my eyes. And I'm looking at him wanting to get up, but I couldn't, because when I caught that knee to the helmet, it just hit one of my nerves, and it was just like I had no feeling. So that feeling that lasted maybe 3 to 5 seconds, right? But it was that one feeling to where you was like, I could not feel any part of my body. So once my body came back, right, my lineman still grabbed me. I got up, and then I was going back to the sideline. Actually, no, I was not going back to the sideline. I was actually going back to the huddle. So I'm walking back to the huddle, but I'm feeling like I'm in a NASCAR movie or on a racetrack to where everybody is going fast, moving fast, but I'm just walking on clouds. So I get back to the huddle, and so I look at the quarterback at that time, and I basically signal with my eyes like, when he called the play, it was another run play. And I'm looking at him like, I can't feel my arms. I'm not going to be able to run this ball. Oh. And so and at that time, I can't remember who that was, because that was actually in 2007. So this is after Trent Green being my quarterback. And so anyways, he stuck with the play. He was a younger player, so he wasn't going to change the call. So he called another run play, and he handed the ball to me. I grabbed the ball, knowing I can't feel any of this. And I grabbed the ball, and the first thing I was thinking about is cover. Like, let me find the back of a lineman and then just get up tight with him and then just go ahead and go down. And so after that happened, that was the one time I realized that, man, if I continue to play this game, well, something bad going to happen, And so what I decided to do is, after that, it was right at halftime. So the whole team goes in. I go into halftime, and then I'm talking to the doc. And, of course, the doc isn't on record, but he's actually just talking to me just as he would, like maybe talking to his son. And, I asked that question, he said, are you going to go back out there? And I said, well, what would you do if this was your son you were talking to? And he said, don't go back out. It ain't worth it, And so that's what kind of helped me make my decision. And I didn't even come out the locker room after that. I just stayed in the locker room. 2 days later, I made my announcement. That was it. That was the end of it.
Oh wow, man! That was and so
was that a neck thing?
Yeah, so it was like cervical C3, C4. So it was one of those things where I started taking different shots. It got to a point where, like, during that season, because 2007, I didn't play the first 8 games. So Larry Johnson was our starter. And then we had Kobe Smith as a young running back out of Louisville. And so the way that I came into my 11th year in the NFL, I thought it was gravy. So they told me, they said, look, Priest, you can only do at least 10 plays. And I said, well, 10 plays, how do y'all want those 10 plays? They says, not 10 running plays, not 10 passing plays, but you get a total of 10 plays in 2007. And that's how you're going to, continue on with your contract. And I said, well, 10 plays, I can definitely do 10 plays. That's cakewalk right there. So I'm thinking that I'm getting ready to prepare to get ready for the season. I'm already out the first 8 games. For me to go into the 9th game, it's only 10 plays. Well, LJ breaks his foot, does something to his foot to where he's out for the season. Kobe Smith is the young running back. So You know what I mean? They go with what they know, in terms of what my production had been prior to that. So they put me in, and I think I played that it was like a Green Bay game. And it was just so funny. So I'm running in beast mode. You can relate to this. I'm running like a angle route, which is basically you come out, you offset in the backfield, you run to about maybe 3 to 4 yards past the line of scrimmage, and then you're waiting for the linebacker to come cover you. He's either going to be on the outside of you. If he's on the outside, stick your foot in the ground and then go back inside, right? Boom, catch the ball. You're going to get that first down or that 5-yard, 6-yard gain. Yeah. Or you might break it if it's in zone. But if the linebacker is actually on your inside, then you're going to put your foot in the ground and go outside and run the flat route. Well, I'm playing Green Bay, and I don't even know who the kid is, but I know he had long blonde hair. It was one of them kids, and you probably remember who that was, Beast Mode. But
Clay Matthew or AJ.
It might have been one of the Matthew brothers, right? And so one of the younger ones. And so I'm running out. I put my foot in the ground. So the linebacker is actually he's on the outside of me. I put my foot in the ground. I said, oh, this is easy. I'm going to put my foot in the ground. I'm going to turn and go inside. I put my foot in the ground. This joker then went from the outside of me to the inside of me quick. And so that was one of those things that just kind of like I laugh about it to this day, but it was one of those things before I caught that knee injury where I got hit in the helmet. While I was getting up, it was plays like that I started to realize, like, hold on, you know what I mean? Like the game, the speed and all that stuff is changing, you know what I mean? So when they told me the 10 plays, I was just on board with that. I'd be a mentor to Larry Johnson and continue to just ride out, what I needed to do. But it didn't end up that way because when Larry got hurt, then they put me in their gang. I was running like 28 times. I said, man, what the hell happened to this?
Load him up. Settle him up. Yeah. No, so what's crazy about that is I heard this story that you telling from so I played college with a running back named Marcus O'Keefe. And he was there with you when that situation had happened. So I've heard that story, but I've heard it from him. And the thing is, he's actually here with us right now. But as you was talking about it, it just reminded me like I remember my brother Deuce had told me about this. And then to hear you actually talking about it, it's just crazy. But I didn't know that it was, that it was that serious. So how is
absolutely?
But so how is your body now?
Yeah, so it's one of those things that when you have any kind of cervical or lower lumbar injuries or contusions or things that are bulging disc or anything like that, that's obviously something that you can't fix. You can choose to go that route with surgery. I've been told and recommended that cervical surgery would be recommended, lower lumbar surgery would be recommended. But it's just one of those things where I've not really heard many success stories from former players. I may have heard maybe 1 or 2 players out of, the thousands of players that have definitely had these types of situations where they've had some type of cervical or lower lumbar issues. But for me, I just choose to continue rehab, so I'm not at that point where I'm comfortable to go underneath the knife or anything like that, which has been recommended. But just based on my faith and, deciding to just continue to go through rehab, that's kind of how I deal with it. I think most players are different in terms of how they deal with it, actually. Some players are more comfortable in taking that route and that trust of the doctor and going underneath the knife. But from as many backs as I can tell you, and one in particular, Earl Campbell, who, at one point in time when I think surgeries and the medical attention wasn't at the level that it's at this day, but I've seen some players to where they have gone under the knife. And unfortunately, their outcome has become something even more horrific for them to where they have continued to go back in for multiple surgeries. So, for me, I'm one of those guys, man, I'm old school, and so that's how I'm going to be all the way to until I can't be anymore. It's one of those things where regardless of the fact that might have been recommended for me, I just choose to just go back through the rehab And I just like I say, I come from a different time, so it's a different kind of leather.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that? Mike spoke about it a little earlier. We had Brandon Mebane and Red Bryant on a call earlier today, and Red was talking about it was a time on the sideline. No, we came in at halftime, and he said he was hurting, body was banged up, and he said I came over and I asked him like. I tell him, hey, Big Red, you all right? He like, man, my body hurt. And he was like, man, Marshawn, I just remember you motivated me to block all that out and get back out there on the field. He said, yeah, man, my body hurting. And he said, man, you told me, hey, bruh, I took an epidural to come out here to be out here on this field to play with y'all. And he was like, what, I said, yeah, that's that them women get when they having a baby. And I was like, yeah, bro, that needle was so big, but I had I think S1, L5 S1, and it was pinching on my sciatic nerve. So at any given time, like I couldn't feel like my left leg, like my was numb all the way from my lower back all the way down to my foot. And I remember getting that shot, and some of the same things that they was telling, like they had some. I guess they can do something like a fuse or I don't. It was some kind of. But they were telling. I was like, I don't know if I want them cutting on my back and putting all these screws and these fake cartilage and all this other kind of. But it's just crazy to know, like, you're not the only one, but the drastic like surgeries that they got out there in order to get you feeling comfortable, and then it's not guaranteed that it's gonna actually take and it's gonna actually work to where you still have to feel that numbness or that pain. So, man, to be able to get out of the game with for myself, like with minor injuries and no real big surgeries, like, man, it's a blessing. But that's something that I tell the younger generation of guys now, like, you got to make sure you take care of your body. Because
that's
a lot of
everything,
them,
man.
Yeah, because a lot of them, they think that they're going to be able to do this, that they're going to be doing this for the rest of their life. And I mean, you only a play away from not being able to play. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right.
Football has been entertaining, my guy. We've been nailing those max discount offers. Of course, Bills Mafia and my guy Josh Allen always showing out. Got my eyes on Josh for next week's game too.
Will we ever get enough of Mike being obsessed with Josh Allen? I still be rocking with my dog Saquon, though.
From the greatest university of all universities, Penn State. I had to put that in there. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when you the MVP, big dog.
PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least two players' stats. If you get your pick right, you could cash in.
PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Josh Allen's passing yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same damn lineup, only on PrizePicks.
Download PrizePicks app today and use code GETGOT to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code GETGOT to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5. PrizePicks is good to be right.
The holidays are upon us, and businesses are hiring for seasonal roles. Everything from haunted corn maze workers to lead elves and real bearded Santas to snowplow drivers. This means that people with certain skills experience, and even a special license are in high demand and not easy to find, money. You want to be Bearded Santa this year?
Not this year, my boy. Whether you hiring for one of these roles or any other role, the best way to find a perfect match for your role is ZipRecruiter, baby.
And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/getgot. ZipRecruiter's matching technology works fast to find top talent so you don't have to waste time or money.
You can find out right away how many job seekers in your area are qualified for your role. Let's find those bearded Santas.
Let ZipRecruiter find the right people for your roles, seasonal or otherwise.
4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/getgot. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/getgot.